Hello everyone, in this video we're going to draw a bull. Start by drawing a circle as a guide for the front part of the body. To draw the circle, first make two small marks to indicate the circle's length, and then on the sides make two more small marks to indicate the circle's width. Then connect the marks using curved lines to finish the shape of the circle. Sketch lightly at first so that it's easy to erase if you make a mistake. Also, pause the video to draw at your own pace. The circle doesn't have to be perfect, but if you're having trouble drawing it, just trace the outer edge of a lid, a glass, or anything else with a circular edge. To the right, draw another circle as a guide for the back portion of the body. Use the 4 marks method to draw this circle too. First, make 4 small marks to indicate the sides of the circle, and then connect the marks using curved lines to finish the shape of the circle. This circle should be about 2/3 the size of the first circle. Don't place the circles too far apart or the body will be too long. On the left side, draw a smaller circle as a guide for the head. Use the 4 marks method to draw this circle as well. Pay attention to the placement of this circle in relation to the first circle. Make this circle about 1/3 the size of the first circle. Under the head circle, make a small mark for the first part of the muzzle. Connect the small mark to the head using sloping lines to create the guide for the muzzle. The shape of the muzzle should be similar to the letter V. Draw a long vertical line across the entire head. This is a construction guide that will help you place the facial features later on. To the right of the construction guide, at the top, draw a curved line as a guide for the ear. To the left of the ear, draw a curved horizontal line as a guide for the horn. Under the first circle, draw a long angled line as a guide for the front leg. Bend the line a few times to indicate the joints and the hoof. The line should bend to the left at the top and then bend back to the right at the bottom. To the right, draw a sloping line as a guide for the other front leg. Bend this line at the bottom to indicate the hoof. Under the circle on the right, draw a long angled line as a guide for the hind leg. Pay attention to how the line bends to indicate the joints and the hoof. To the left, draw another angled line as a guide for the other hind leg. Bend this line to the left to indicate the joints and the hoof. Connect the head to the body using sloping lines to create the guide for the neck. The shape of the neck should be wide. Connect the circles in the middle using horizontal lines to finish the guide for the torso. The shape of the body should be thinner on the right side. Starting on the top right side of the body, draw a line that curves downward as a guide for the tail. Don't overlap the hind leg as you draw the tail. And that's it for the guidelines. Now let's start on the final drawing. Inside the head, lightly sketch a small oval for the eye. Place the eye to the left of the construction guide and under the horn. When you get the size and position of the eye right, darken the shape. Make the sides of the shape pointy for the corners of the eye. Draw a small thin shape at the top for the eyelashes. At the bottom, draw a few short lines to emphasize the inner corner of the eye. Inside the eye, off to the side, draw a tiny circle for a highlight. In the middle of the eye, draw a small oval and shade it in for the pupil. Shade the rest of the eye using a value that's slightly lighter than the pupil. Draw a short curved line on top of the eye for the eyelid. Draw a curved line to the left of the eye for the thick brow. Near the bottom of the muzzle, draw a curved line as a guide for the nostril. This shape should be similar to a backward number 6. Shade the inside of the nostril. Use the bottom line as a guide to draw the front of the muzzle. Draw a curved line along the path of the guide to create the front part of the muzzle. The front of the muzzle should be close to the nostril. Extend the line to the right to create the mouth. Sketch lightly at first and only darken the line when you get the shape right. Don't make the mouth too long. Add a few short strokes for a bit of hair. Draw a short curved line to the right for the bottom lip. Follow the path of the guide as you draw these lines. Use the curved horizontal line at the top as a guide to draw the horn. Lightly sketch the shape of the horn around the guideline. Make the base of the horn wide and then gradually make the shape thinner toward the tip. When you get the shape of the horn right, darken the lines. You can make the horn longer if you'd like. Add a few short strokes at the top for the furry base of the horn. Use the curved line on the right as a guide to draw the ear. Darken the shape of the guide but make the top more curved. Draw a few short lines within the shape for the hair inside the ear. Use the remaining shapes and lines as guides to draw the rest of the head. Simply darken the outer edges of the guides to create the shape of the head. Make the top part of the muzzle slightly thinner than the initial guide. At the top, draw a series of short strokes for the fur on the head. Make the top of the head slightly taller than the initial circle. Darken the lines at the bottom to create the lower jaw. Draw a series of short curved lines on the bottom right side of the head for the loose skin on the neck. Don't make the skin on the neck too long. On the top left side of the head, draw a thin pointy shape for the other horn. Use the first horn as a template as you draw this horn. Sketch lightly at first and only darken the horn when you get the shape right. Use the angled line that's under the body on the far left side as a guide to draw the front leg. First, lightly sketch the shape of the leg around the guideline. Make the top of the leg round and curved to indicate the muscle structure. At the bottom, draw a small square-like shape for the hoof. When you get the shape of the leg right, darken the lines. Draw a few curved lines at the top for the folded skin. The bull is stepping forward, so this leg will be raised off the ground. Make the shapes round where the guideline bends to create the joints. Make the bottom of the hoof flat. Use the line on the right as a guide to draw the other front leg. First, lightly sketch the shape of the leg around the guideline. Curve the shape to indicate the joints and muscles. At the bottom, draw a small square-like shape for the hoof. When you get the shape of the leg right, darken the lines. The leg should slope to the right and the hoof should slope to the left. Make the section above the hoof thin. Use the angled line on the far right side as a guide to draw the hind leg. Just like with the front legs, first lightly sketch the shape of the hind leg around the guideline. Make the top of the leg wide and then gradually make the shape thinner toward the bottom. Draw a small square-like shape at the very bottom for the hoof. When you get the shape of the hind leg right, darken the lines. Curve the sections where the guideline bends to create the joints. Keep the edges of the bottom section of the leg close to the guidelines so that the shape is thin. Make the section directly above the hoof thin. Use the line on the left as a guide to draw the other hind leg the same way. Sketch the leg lightly around the guide and only darken the lines when you get the shape right. Bend the shape to indicate the joints. The top part of this leg will be hidden behind the body. Now use the remaining shapes and lines as guides to draw the rest of the body. Simply darken the outer edges of the guides to create the shape of the body. Curve the line at the top to create a hump. Draw short curved lines on the bottom left side to create loose skin on the neck. Don't overlap the legs that are on this side of the body as you draw the underside. Use the vertical line on the right side as a guide to draw the tail. Draw the shape of the tail around the guideline. Keep the edges of the tail close to the guideline so that the shape is thin. Draw a series of short strokes at the bottom for the hair on the tip of the tail. Don't overlap the leg as you draw the tail. Now erase the initial guidelines. The next few steps are sped up so that the video isn't too long. Don't worry about erasing all of the guidelines. It's okay if you leave some behind. Redraw any of the final lines that you may have accidentally erased. Now shade your drawing. Use the dark value across the entire body. Shade lightly at first and gradually build up to darker values. For light values, push down very lightly on your pencil, then push down harder for darker values. Add a slightly darker value throughout the body to create some shadows. Shadows will give the figure more dimension and volume. Pick a light source as you shade so that the shadows are consistent throughout the body. Here the light source is coming from the top, so most of the shadows will be on the underside of the shapes. Add shadows to emphasize the muscle structure. Bulls can have a variety of coat patterns, so you can shade yours differently if you'd like. Draw a cast shadow at the bottom using a medium value. Shading can be time-consuming, so be patient and take breaks. Keep shading until you're happy with the result. And that's it for the bull. Don't forget to pause the video to draw at your own pace. Also, please visit howtodrawanimals.com where every step of this tutorial is broken down into an individual image. That's how, and then the number 2, then drawanimals.com. If you'd like to support my channel, please consider buying my books on Amazon. I'll leave a link in the description below. And if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, a comment, and subscribe for more videos in the future. Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep drawing.